So, last night's phone call. In Georgia, you know the two black clubs that went at each other?
No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't even follow that crap on
Right. Well, I mean, it's been reported on YouTube and all that, but somebody called me from one of the clubs. All of their members have been charged with domestic terrorism.
Is it a national club?
Mm-hmm. A national 1% club.
And they're black guys?
Every one of them that's been arrested has been charged with that, with the domestic terrorism.
And this is a black motorcycle club?
Yes, all black motorcycle club out of Georgia. And I think it's a test case. I think the government is stepping it up one more than RICO. And they are literally charging these guys. And if they take them down with it, the big clubs are done. Because they've set precedents to convict them of terrorism. They're going to go to ADX.
Yeah, they'll fabricate whatever they have to, too.
Right. If you're in an MC right now, you probably need to donate to these guys lawyer funds, so that, because if the government gets that,
that's why I always said if they all got together, they could throw their money in together and they could fight the government. But man, on your own, I think now again, like I said, I was in the whole loop for the Laughlin thing because I wasn't there. I was in jail in Sturgis, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I'm right on this, I don't know the exact fact on it, so don't quote me on this, but I think it was like around $3 million it cost us as a club to pay that. We had to pay $1,000 each, member and prospect, to fight that case, man, because that was a big federal case,
Yeah, it's huge, and the consequences, I mean, well, I guess Ray would have just ended up in prison earlier, or I don't know.
Ray dug his own holes many times, bro.
Hey, Ray is he is a Viking, though. You gotta give it to that guy. He does not care. He is not scared, and he's ready at all times. Let me go kick this guy in the chest in front of 70 guys, and let's get it on. Yeah. And brilliant mortgage fraud too. Like, the guy has brains and brawn, right? You can't hate on him for most things.
They can just about fabricate anything they want, And again, I'm going to say this for the 100th time, they have all the money to fight you, Rick. You couldn't possibly come up with enough money to fight these guys. And just to show you the kind of money they got, they wanted me so bad, the ATF said, hey, and the FBI. The FBI approached me first. They said, listen, we don't want you to snitch on anybody. We just want you to come and tell us how the club operates. I go, what the fuck are you talking about? And they go, no, we just want you to tell us, like, how the inner runnings of the club. You don't have to, like it was okay. I didn't have to tell on anybody. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And they said, why not? These guys talk all kinds of shit about you, like I said before. And I said, hey, man, I ain't doing it for them. I ain't doing it for you. I'm doing it for me.
Exactly.
I just don't want it. And here's my point of this. They said, if you do it, think about this. If you come to a seminary once a month and talk to ATF, FBI, and tell them this, we'll pay you $5,000 every time you come and talk. That might sound like a ton of money, and that is a good chunk of money. You know what I mean? Sure, more than my pension and my Social Security. But here's the deal, bro. Where do you draw the line, man?
Right.
Where do you walk around with your head, like I said in my book, I walk around with my head up proud. Because I told those guys, hey, took a long ride for nothing, man. And they were pissed. They were really pissed, bro. Pissed off enough that I did more time than I should have, because when I first was being released from the prison, within the 2 to 5 I got, within the 24th, 25th month, they already came and saw me for my parole. And they said, oh, yeah, I think your parole's granted. And I said, hey, cool, man. So then I thought, well, now they're going to let me go. And he gave me a date. That date came, gone. Then he said, here's your next release date. Come, gone. I'm like, what the fuck? So another 5 months goes on, right? Past past my 24, right? So well, there goes my 2 year, right? I must be doing a 3 to 5. The day I was leaving, when I was sitting up in the room where they bring you in and they check in and all that. Well, you're up there. I couldn't believe it. They had to get one more spread my ass swab before I left. Like, what the f would I smuggle out of the prison?
Right. Bring that keefy with you.
Yeah. So, offering me that money and shit, that was a lot. But those guys, they came all the way, they were pissed. And when I was up in that holding room, the warden walked by, one of the wardens, because I don't know, there's like 5 or 6 of them. And one of them walked by me and he goes, "How you doing, Mr. Goldsmith?" And I'm on my way out of there, man. I just nodded my head. I said, "Warden." That's all I said, "Warden." And you know what he said to me? "Well, you would have been out of here a lot sooner if you just played ball." And he kept walking. I thought, "You dirty son of a bitch." When I was prospecting for San Francisco, I would go visit one of the members there that was doing 2 life sentences. And I don't even know if he's alive anymore. He was a really good dude when I went and saw him. I'm going to say his name because, like I said, I don't even think he's alive anymore. Pollock John, right? And he was in there for two homicides, and he just did the 1 life sentence, 25. Now he's on the second one. And I went to see the man, and like I always said, I always tell the younger guys, listen to the older guys, man, and learn something. Sit down and learn something. And even though I was more, like I came around the club when I was 38. So even though when I was in my 40s and 50s, I was still sucking up the knowledge because that's what I wanted to do. So I went to visit John in the prison. He was in right over by Stockton. I got in there to see him. Now, you got to remember, he's never, ever met me. But, I went on his visiting list because I was a prospect. And then I got in there, and we sat and we talked. And, it was good just to sit and listen to him, Rick, man, because he basically said, "Peewee, what I did took a split-second decision when I pulled the trigger, and it changed my life forever." And he goes, "I'm a burden to the club." And I said, "Well, why do you say that?" And he goes, "Well, I'm a burden to the club. You guys are sending me cards and writing me letters. You going to tell me as a prospect they don't make you send me letters?" And I didn't say nothing. I just looked at him, right? And he goes, "Answer me. Are they making you?" Because, I didn't really want to say to him, "Yeah, they told me I have to write you." Well, I didn't do it out of the kindness of my heart. But I actually liked the dude. And I think on my prospect cut, I think I had a little tag that said, "Free Pollock." He just said, "Man, I'm a burden to the club, Peewee, and I'm going to die here. There's no ifs and ands about it. I got to do another 25 years. I'm going to die here." And he goes, and if like I said, I take words of encouragement and anything like somebody like him could tell you. He said, "If you're going to do anything with the club," he says, "you're going to do anything illegal, any of that stuff, do it, be smart, use your goddamn head, where you can look back 30 years from now and laugh and say, 'Hey, Rick, remember that time that we did this and we did that?' And you can laugh about it. But hey, when we're sitting, you know what I mean? Cell to cell, I'm yelling through a fucking vent to you.
Right.
I don't see you laughing, and I should have fucking laughing on the other side there, bro." So I take what Pollock said to heart, and you got to be smart. And I thought I was smart, but obviously, I wasn't smart enough.
You got to look at it this way. Obviously, George was gunning to set you up after the bite, after the prospect got pulled over on the bike, and they found that.
Well, let me tell you this though, Rick. That's a good point that you brought up. I'm still waiting for him to stand up and do the right thing and say, "Hey, here's the money for this shop." You know what I mean? But that ain't never gonna happen.
Yeah, hold your breath on that one. Oh.
But you know what it is though? Seriously, Rick, what it is it's not us being stupid. It's us being trusting, It's like, "Hey, you're my brother. I trust you, man. Hey, we're brothers. We love each other. Why would I do anything to hurt you or your family or anything like that? I should be able to take a bullet for you, But it ain't like that. And yeah, there was other Hells Angels that I didn't care for. I didn't like.
Of course.
But I never disrespected them. Like when I would see them, I'd say, "Hey, so-and-so, what's up, man?" And I'd shake your hand and we'd give them that half-assed hug,
Yeah.
which I call the bullshit hug. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I never disrespected anybody, and I was always honest. You can some of the members, well, most of the guys now they're out of the club. You know, the ones that I was hanging around with, but there was times, you know, like where other angels would come in and say, "Hey, what's up, man? I didn't know you were here. We can go riding together." And I look at him, and it was a dude from Vegas, from Sin City, my own charter. And I really, honest to God, did not like the dude or care for him. But I always, when I saw him, hey, what's up? Shit like that. But I never went to dinner with him. I didn't go to his house. Matter of fact, I don't even know what his house looks like. And it was like that. You know what I mean? So yeah. I showed him the respect that he had coming, but I'm just saying there's so many like disappointments in that club, you know, with some of these guys because they don't have that strong drive for that camaraderie anymore. That's what I want to see those guys get back to. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to end up there eventually once it whittles itself down. I don't know as bad as the Mongols, you know, down to 12 members, but they got to clean this out of there, man. They are just gutting the hell. What happens? Say, a couple of feds make Patch member, and then they start politicking you guys out from the inside.
They could do that. They could pull it off, even though I would say like to get in the Angels is a little harder, you know. And I'm just telling you, I know they're from. I'm not going to mention again names of other major clubs that said to me, "Hey man, come our way, you know, 3-4 months, man, you'll be in the club." I was thinking, Jesus, you know, I'd hang around for 5 years, you know, going around Minnesota, and then by the time, you know, I went up prospect, you know, 14 months, they tell me, "Hey, you ain't cutting it, beat it,"
right.
And then I had to do it again.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, you can't please everybody. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, Pat gave you such a hard time trying to get into that club.
And I don't know why, because all I would have done is been a good soldier and a good guy.
Right.
You know, and I don't know. And when I was with the man, shit, we go to places to eat together, we hang out, and I actually had good times with Pat, you know. I go to his house, probably more than other prospects did. Yeah. I went to his house. It was just to talk to him or sit and hang out with him. I don't know why he did what he did, but like I say, man, life is too short for me to sit here and go, "Hey, I hate you, I hate you." I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate shit-talking motherfuckers, you know, and I will knock them out.
It's a lot harder on me personally. If I know somebody has testified or something like that, I just can't.
I know. It is hard, bro. But then again, I'm saying that like, well, I don't run around hang around with them, you know what I mean? Like that. It's hard for me to... Because you got to remember, he put me in that indictment too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't have mind if it was all like true shit about me, but most of it was bullshit. So.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, you know, that bothered me the worst is like I told you when I was sitting in my recliner talking to you, and I said, you know, when I was in New York City that time and I was talking with Chuck Zito down the street, we heard a big crash at the end of the street. And I think it was a cab. A cab came through, and another car came through and hit him at the light. And the cab went through I'm trying to think, like a coffee shop. You know, like where everybody gets together, and you know, they're all sitting there drinking coffee. And this guy comes plowing through in a car. Bro, it was bad. There was people smashed under the car. When me and Chuck ran down there to see if we could help, there must have been somebody, Rick, on a bicycle. The bike was underneath the car where the gas tank is, and we could see the guy's legs way up front. Hey, dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
And that was a bad scene right there. So then when I go back, I'm getting these phone calls from Las Vegas. Hey man, from my daughter was one of them. Hey Dad, George is down here campaigning against you, you know, to get you guys out of here. And I was like, what? I looked over and I said to a couple of the members that were there, and one of them, who I love dearly, I know he's still in the club, Butch. And I says, man, this some bitch is talking shit about me. I'm over here in New York. And I says, they're trying to say that I said this and that. See, he was already telling everybody, listen, he's a rat. Listen to the tape. So the funny part was there was 3 other members of my charter. And when they got there and I got there, George goes, listen to this. And he popped it in. And we all sat like this. Rick and we just sat there. We listened to it. We listened to it. We listened to it. And it was over. And we're sitting there. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
And I look at him and I said, what about it? And he goes, what do you mean? And I says, okay, what about it? What did I say wrong? And he goes, man, when you read it, I go, whoa, you better rewind that tape. Yeah. You better rewind that tape and listen to it again, motherfucker. And then Kevin was sitting next to me, and Kevin goes, I didn't hear him snitch on anybody.
Yeah.
All he did was say a couple of things that clears shit up, like the Vogel thing. Yeah. And I go, thank you, Kevin. And I said, yeah. So that's the guys that stayed with me. You know, the guys that heard it right there. But it was the guys that George campaigned with before I got there.
Right. Which I'm going to guess are your partners at Sturgis. I'm not going to put them out and say it is because nobody has proof. But
well, I mean, George, a piece of shit from Lowell, he, you know, first thing I out of the club, me and this guy thought we were close, but he was all bullshit as usual. First thing he tells the guy that's running my shop up there, when I walked in, I says, he goes, what are you doing here? And I said, what do you mean, what am I doing here? I'm here to get my shit. And he goes, oh, George called and said you got kicked out of the club, which this is when I just left. Wow. And I wasn't even out bad yet. He said everything in the shop is his. And everything in that shop was mine. Everything.
So George...
From the nails laying on the ground, bro, everything was mine.
So George resumed and took your portion.
He tried to. I took everything. I took it all out of there.
Right.
And I sold it to some other guy who had a bike shop.
Yeah.
And I put most of it in storage.
Good.
And you're going to shit when I tell you this. You know this was 2010, right?
You paid it the whole time.
Listen, bro. No. I put a bunch over by a guy I forgot in Wyoming at a business. And he's a great friend of mine. I love him. And he calls me up and he says, hey, bro, I got your tire machine here. Your tire rack with tires still on it. I got your battery charger. I got your parts cleaner, all this stuff. And I was like, are you kidding me? He's been holding on to that shit since 2010. So I got to go get it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go up there with you. I ain't got nothing else in life.
Yeah, we'll take a ride. Field trip. I built that shop. I've had that shop before I was a Hell's Angel. And I built that shop up. And actually, after I became a Hell's Angel, I lost so much money. It was unbelievable. Because people were afraid to come there. There were so many hanging out in front. You know what I mean? They walk up, ooh, I don't want to go through that crowd.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have your balls on tight. Start dealing with them like that, you know?
That's a fact, Jack. That's a fact.
Now what? Now you're retired, just living the dream. You could be doing life, you know?
Yeah.
Very easily could have got crossed up by George and been doing life. So I think it worked out. I just hate the out bad. Just shut up with the out bad.
It doesn't even mean anything because even if you left Rick and you were in the club and you left in good, they don't say, hey, Rick, you're going to come down to the clubhouse, have a drink with us? Come on, bro.
Right.
And you're never going to hear from them again.
And they probably still talk shit about you anyway because...
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know why the hell they do that, but... like I said over and over again, you know, I said, man, you guys can change so easy. You know, you can go back to being, man, the massive idols they were. You know, that everybody wanted to be one.
I don't think they can.
Like I said, I was a little kid in Milwaukee. I knew what a Hell's Angel was.
I don't think they can.
And it was all outlaws in Milwaukee, and a lot of them were my friends.
Right.
But I just didn't want to be one.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought, hey, I'm going to go to the top of the food chain, and that's what I did, you know?
Well, now the top of the food chain is a little bit different because I would actually put the Outlaws at the top of that.
Man, bro, I don't get into all that shit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the Mongols are coming up really strong. I mean, the Hells Angels are sliding, and it's... Of course they are. You're not going to pull out of this. You know why? Because the men who know how to pull out of this, you threw out of the club.
Yeah. When Cisco told us in the room, hey, man, go out there and make your own bones.
That's right.
Man, that man was so on the money, you know?
Yeah.
He hit the nail right on the head. Go out there and make your own reputation. The reputations that they're getting, that we're seeing in the news, isn't repetition.
No.
It's crimes among each other, on each other.
Yes. More Hells Angels have been killed.
No offense with the racist stuff, but it's like saying black on black crime.
Right. Red on red crime.
It's red on red, red and white on red and white crime. You know, but
more Hells Angels have been killed by Hells Angels in the last 10 years than they have by any other club out there. At some point, you got to say, hey, you're your own worst enemy. The guys you claim to be fighting against, they're not the ones taking you out. You're taking each other out.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.